Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Monday night. You know what that means? Time for some Raw. So, last week had the most epic pull-apart brawl you have ever seen on Raw in recent history, as the entire locker room had to pretty much keep The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar from killing each other and everyone within a 50-mile radius of Kansas City. So, how does that translate to this week? Let's find out. Don't have no notes today. But anyway, we open the show with the Authority, the Admiral, Triple H, and of course Sexy Power, along with the champ, Seth Rollins. Keep a note, happy birthday to you, Mr. Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. Today is his birthday. I don't know how old he is, but congratulations to you. So anyway, after last week and the announcement of the main event for SummerSlam, they announced that SummerSlam is going to be very extra special, as it's going to be 4 hours long. I don't know what they're going to do for those 4 hours, but they're going to need to fill it with a lot of content to keep the fans occupied. But anyway, yeah, 4 hours of SummerSlam. And tonight will be, they call it the Night of Firsts, hence the title of the video. Night of Firsts. First up, well, for the first time ever, they would have a bunch of matches where it would be the first time certain superstars fought each other. So, one match would be Dean Ambrose versus The Big Show. Another match would be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. And, of course, Seth Rollins comes out and he's bragging about how he beat Brock Lesnar. John Cena comes out and about talking all that noise. And he says that he wants a shot at Seth Rollins' title. The Authority ain't having that shit because John, contrary to what John is being booked as, he doesn't get whatever he wants automatically just because he's the face of the company. So tonight, there will be a title match. It will be Seth Rollins versus John Cena for the United States Championship. So there's that, the main event. A first match. We have Dean Ambrose versus The Big Show for the first time ever, one-on-one, with The Miz on the ringside doing commentary. Now, unfortunately, I know they were supposed to be doing a program with Ryback, but Ryback is still laid up with his knee injury, staph infection, nasty shit. So they're just trying to make good of what they have to work with, and what they have, unfortunately, isn't that all that good. The feud is just, meh. This was a decent match. It was passable for what it was. You really could skip this match. I'm sorry, Dean, but unfortunately, you're wrestling the Big Show, and Miz is on commentary. It's gonna be fucking boring. But anyway, after beating the hell out of Dean Ambrose, Big Show wins via countout. Surprising, considering he's got more than 2 feet and a couple of 100 pounds over on Dean, so he should have been able to pin him. But anyway, he goes outside and sees Dean, who is the Deadpool of the WWE. He just regenerates from whatever you do to him, and he goes for a spear against him. Dean's too crazy for that and ducks out of the way, and he runs into a wall. Okay, match. Next up, trying to remember here. Next up, I think is some other match. See that this Raw was a little bit forgettable for the first couple of minutes, so I'm trying to remember. I don't think that it was all that of an important match. I'm just gonna skip it and go to the first great match of the night: Paige versus Sasha Banks. Let those words simmer in. Paige versus Sasha Banks. Needless to say, this was a 5-star fucking match. This was an amazing match. At the very least, 4.5 stars. You had actual wrestling from the women, and you could see you could see Team Bella backstage. And I'm just saying, hey, ladies, this is how you wrestle. This is what wrestling looks like. Can you do this? Sasha Banks had one of the best matches of the year. Not just the best Divas match of the year, but one of the best matches, period. Match of the Year candidate. Can you be Match of the Year candidate? Can you be Match of the Minute candidate? No? Oh well. So anyway, this was a good back and forth match. If you wanted good women's wrestling, this is a match you would want to see. And of course, it ended with Sasha hitting her patented submission, the bank statement, and picking up the win. Nice match. I loved it. Next up, we have some pointless scene with Rusev and Lana and Summer Rae. It involved a dog and a dead fish. You heard me. I'm going to skip this. Next up, we have a match between Neville versus Fandango. This is a nice short match. Saw some moves out of Fandango I haven't seen before. So it's really nice to see some variety out of the guy. So it's really nice. Short match, Neville picks it up, followed by a short promo from Stardust. I happen to like this feud between Stardust and Neville. The way they've taken it, that's an almost comic book-esque feel to it. They've embraced the comic book feel to it, like a superhero versus a super villain. It really feels good, and those comic book pages that they have for their little profile pictures, it's really excellent. I like that. It's silly, but it gives them something to do. I'd rather have Neville and Cody fight each other, or rather than fight anybody else. Next up, we get the reinitiation of Luke Harper back to Bray Wyatt, reforming the Wyatt family, minus Eric Rowan, who's still out with an injury. Although I've heard on the dirt sheets that there was a new member to be introduced into the Wyatt family. Good old friend Adam Rose, or as little Kariba would say, Adam Rose! Adam Rose! So yeah, there's that. Next up, we have a tag team match to determine the number one contenders. I think to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles. It's a battle of luchadors. The Lucha Dragons, Kalisto and Sin Cara take on Diego and Fernando, Los Matadores, with primetime players on comms. Now, regardless of what some people might think, Legado, if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. His name begins with an S. So I rather enjoy the primetime players on commentary. They're much better than JBL and Byron Saxton and Cole. Not that it's their fault when you got Vince McMahon screaming in your ear, but this was a good tag team match. Still loving the tag teams right now. In comes when the primetime players, I mean not the primetime players, the Douche Day, the New Day come out. Oh yeah, shout outs to Xavier Woods for his appearance on the beta adventures of Gutex and Mike Ross. If you haven't seen it, basically it's Xavier Woods learning how to play Street Fighter from two of the best. So it's on YouTube. Check it out. So anyway, back in the ring, Kalisto picks up a roll-up victory over one of the Matadors. Lucha Dragons are in the hunt. Let's see. Trying to remember here. Next matchup, we have a tag team divas match between Becky Lynch, making her debut. I think this is her Raw debut match, alongside Charlotte to face Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit spoony here and say, and I'm gonna enjoy, and I want to impress upon him what I think, because he and April said something on their last Wrestle that made me think, because I'm not saying that the Bellas are terrible. Far from it. They're passable in the ring. The problem is when you put them in the ring with people whose skill level is so much higher than theirs, the holes in their talent really show. Because it's like putting, I don't know how to put this. It's like putting Bret Hart in the ring with Chris Masters. Now, Chris Masters is not a terrible wrestler. It's just when you put him in the ring with a technical machine like Bret Hart, he's going to come up lacking. This is what this match was. It's basically Charlotte and Becky carrying them. And this is bad because she's supposed to be your champion, yet these two divas from the developmental territory can out-wrestle her. And I feel like they had to hold back or slow down their performance just to make things interesting. which just goes to show you the state of the current Divas division and how this injection of new life from the NXT Divas has helped them out. So yeah, there's that. But needless to say, Alicia Fox tapped out to Becky Lynch's submission. I forgot what it's called, but it's awesome. Looks like she's gonna snap somebody's fucking arm off, so it was great. Next up, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton with Sheamus at ringside. Now, if this was a match, if this match didn't have any outside interference, it would be one of the matches of the night or the match of the night. But unfortunately, Sheamus had to be there to further the feud, which hurt this match a lot, which is a shame because it looked like, because from what little we saw of it, Kevin Owens and Randy have great chemistry together. They have great chemistry. I want to see these two in a proper one-on-one match because I love watching two talented workers who understand ring psychology and can get shit done in the ring work together because it's fantastic. But yeah, match was ruined by Sheamus giving Randy the bro kick. Then as he's beating down Randy, out comes Cesaro, beats up everyone, but then eats a pop-up powerbomb from Kevin Owens. And like a friend of mine on the forums once said, his Teddy Long sense was tingling, and next week we might have a double tag team main event player. Holla holla. But yeah. Let's see. So, let's just move on to the main event. John Cena defends the U.S. title against the WWE champion, Seth Rollins. Was Seth Rollins going to pull a Jay Lethal and come out with 2 belts? This was a fantastic fucking match. I know I've said in my previous video about does John Cena kill momentum, but I really said it best that this booking is hurting John Cena more than it's helping the people he's wrestling with, because he likes to make younger superstars look great in the ring. And he's been putting on nothing but 5-star fucking matches since his United States title run began. And this booking makes him is just booking him like it's the same old invincible John Cena. And people don't want to see the same invincible John Cena. But yeah, that's my whole take on the matter. But yeah, one interesting spot that happened. John ate a knee from Seth, and it busted his nose open, nasty like, just nasty. He broke his nose. I'm not even kidding. You look at the footage, John's nose is pushed to the side and like a bone protrusion. It's not sticking out of the skin, but it's just like bubbled up, and his nose is just all like jacked up. It looked like Wade Barrett's nose. And someone from the forums, Legato, you know who I'm talking about. Leave it in the comments. He said that he didn't like that the fact that the doctors had to come in and look at John Cena because it just seemed like they were pussifying the WWE. Now look, John, this was not some minor little cut that they could look over or something like that. This was a gusher. He was flowing blood out of his nose. They had to make sure that John could breathe. Because when you have a broken nose that's gushing blood, you're going to be breathing out of your mouth. And when you're in a sport like this, breathing out of your mouth is the last thing you want to do. And knowing John, if he broke both of his legs, he'll wrestle on his hands if he has to. I can make fun of him if I want, but I will not question his commitment. So yeah, calling it pussifying, yeah, it's really pussifying when that the doctor shows some kind of care and concern for one of their superstars after he suffers a very bad injury to his face, where it could hinder his performance. Because it doesn't take much. And his nose this was not a small cut. He fucking broke his nose. He was gushing blood. So for you to say that this is pussification because they're showing concern for the talent, fuck you then. That's right, I said it. If you want to see people, they want to see wrestlers fight through injuries with nobody showing any concern for their injuries, go to TNA. TNA don't care about injuries. If you break your neck, in the middle of a ring, so what? They won't pay for the for the bills. You get hurt in TNA, you fucked. At least they show some concern for it. Yeah, because we've seen people get busted open before, and we've seen doctors check them out because they take this shit seriously. We don't blade anymore, at least not as much anymore. I haven't seen any blading done lately, but I don't know. But yeah, John Cena's nose was all jacked to shit. So this is a fantastic matchup. Once again, ended questionably as Seth taps out to the STF. And it wasn't even really locked in properly because John couldn't probably breathe with his nose broken and jacked up with blood. And he probably had to end the match quickly because if he got some blood on Seth or something, that might lead to cross infection or something, and you never know. That could lead to some bad shit. Just ask Nigel McGuinness. I mean, he had to retire because he had hepatitis in his blood. And if you get busted open or he gets a cut and that spreads that shit, you're putting yourself and other people that you're working with in danger with that shit. So they have to take this shit seriously. So don't call it pussification when they're showing concern for their talent. That's just a fact of the business. They've been like this for a while now. If the person can go and is still within their faculties, they'll let them go. That's what they did for John. They had the doctor come in, check out his nose, see if he could breathe or if he could function properly. Then they let the match go on. The match didn't go on much too longer, like another 5 minutes after his nose got broken. But when the doctors went in the ring and checked him out again, he was saying he was fine, but still, his nose was looking like this. Yeah, John was jacked up. But yeah, I'm still questioning. Like, this booking, once again, is hurting John Cena, which is not a good thing. So yeah, that was Raw. My thoughts? Average to slightly below average Raw. Some of the segments dragged on. A lot of the matches didn't really matter, as you saw that I forgot one of them. The only matches worth watching were the Divas matches, which is saying something, and only one of them was actually great. The other one was acceptable. And the other match that you should watch out for was Seth versus Cena. So, like I said, you could watch those two matches. You can skip the rest. So yeah, those are my thoughts. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about wrestling or what happened tonight? Leave them below. I'll get back to you. Also, check out my Twitter. I'll leave below in the description. Or if you're a fan of One Piece or want to learn more about the series, check out my Countdown to Pirate Warriors 3 Let's Play. Seriously, it needs some views. Get some views on that. So, and also if you want to support the channel, just give a nice bro kick to that like button down there, or click on an advertisement or two. They really do help out. Or if you want to support the channel, you know what to do. So until next time, this has been shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night, and you can't see me.